Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's enjoying some time at home. So glad you can join us for this event, Microsoft 365 Virtual Marathon. My session is meant to be very kind of a simple look at all the features that are available in Microsoft Search. So it's meant to be an introduction to Microsoft Search. And hoping, I think a lot of times what I found, at least, is that with all the features that Microsoft provides, sometimes I lose sight of all the features and all the little things that they're doing to improve the experiences. And I thought this would be a great opportunity to kind of connect and learn together. So it encouraged me to dive in and do a little bit of research and learn about things that are on the roadmap that are coming up, as well as kind of make sure I was able to get a demo environment going for you guys and showcase that to you. So hopefully you can all see my screen. Please, I do encourage you to share any questions you might have on Q&A. That's the little icon at the right next to hanging up. Don't hang up, please do join and stay on. My name's Kanwal Khipple, and I'll go through introduction to Microsoft Search. And I'll start here with first and foremost, just highlighting, making sure you mark your calendars. The Microsoft Collaboration Conference is the new name that's coming up for the conference that we were all going to meet up, physically. And now we're going to be meeting up hopefully next year. So make sure you do register for that. And then if you'd like, I'd encourage you all to go and fill out a raffle. You have an opportunity to win. Or they're giving away 3 Oculus Quest all-in-ones. Make sure you visit the vendor booths, the sessions, the videos, submit your answers, and fingers crossed, hopefully somebody from this session wins. I think if you guys win, I get a free trip to Hawaii. No, probably not, but definitely take advantage and interact. Huge shout out to not just the organizers who are doing fabulous job of putting this huge event together, but also the generous sponsors, from supporting, from the marketing initiative to organizing to just being there to support. Each of these sponsors deserve you to check them out, check out their products and services, and make sure you do reach out and find out how they're kind of supporting your continued transformation as well. And last but not least, make sure you be generous yourself. Even if it's a small amount of your time or something as small as like $5, make sure you find ways to invest and support the United Way, International Medical Corps through kind of the time that we're facing. Quick little intro about myself. My name's Kanwal Khipple, and I'm based out of Canada, here in the north, in Toronto, actually, about 30 minutes north of Toronto. Have been here for most of my life, 30 plus years. Have absolutely loved it. Throughout the last 10 years, I have traveled quite a bit. So I've been fortunate to live in the US. I've been fortunate to travel to Europe and Asia as well. I just haven't went to Australia and New Zealand and that neck of the woods of the world. What else? Pretty fortunate as well to be the CEO and founder of ToLead, a generous consulting company. And we've been a remote first company, not just cloud first, but remote first. We all work from home. I just recently presented on a session on what are the things that helped us continue to be successful in this day and age. So if you get a chance, check out that presentation as well. Companies ToLead, we do platform, and more importantly, I would say not just development and consulting, but we really just help companies and teams be productive. So sometimes that means customizations and development. Sometimes that just means adoption and training. I've been also fortunate to be part of some great teams. So 2 times award winner for Nielsen Norman. Essentially, they're considered the Oscars for intranets. So, and then as I mentioned earlier, focused on improving productivity, and I'm on LinkedIn as well as Twitter. So feel free to reach out and connect. All right, so I think I'll probably highlight, I've been in the industry in SharePoint, Office 365 space for a little bit over a decade. I think it's about 14 years now, 15 years. And every year it gets to a point where SharePoint and the platform and the technology, you feel like, okay, this is everybody's using it, and there's not much more that you can use the functionality for. So as Microsoft keeps increasing their value and the feature set that they're delivering, what we're also seeing is a huge surgence with data that's being captured and stored as well. So that creates a lot of challenges, right? I think today, if you're trying to look for, let's say one of the things is, let's say you're trying to look for when you're at home looking for your keys, you're going to try to retrace your steps, try to take a step back and look at where did I last leave it, who was I with, what time of day was that, and try to retrace your steps and eventually find it. That kind of fact-finding mission sometimes isn't as successful, but with SharePoint and Office 365, Microsoft 365, there's a huge increase in data that's going there. So the type of results that employees are looking for is not just a pure search engine that searches results, but results that are relevant and that are in tune and have the context of what I'm trying to look for. In some ways, they actually share answers to the questions that I have. So pretty important that the expectations for employees for search is evolving, and it needs to evolve a lot quicker in some cases than what your tenant or what Microsoft might be providing at this time. So making sure you're finding ways to improve that is important. As we know, and it might not be clear, but thought I'd share some stats here. Will continue to be a decrease in attention span for a lot of folks. We are all connected, so we expect connectivity, and because of that connectivity, we expect very quick results. So we want content much sooner, and we want to spend much less time than we did in the past, finding content. And then, of course, content scale is increasing. This data is from last year, I believe, 44 zettabytes of data by 2020. And you can just imagine the amount of content that continues to increase even more that we've seen in the last 3 to 4 months with the pandemic that we're facing. It's actually transformed a lot of organizations to say we need to get our content into the cloud and it needs to be searchable. So and last but not least, there's a huge investment in intelligent tech. So now that the content's there, are there ways to actually infer and get content and get results and get the data that we need from that content store? So what does that mean for users? I think every employee, every user that's accessing search is essentially has some very common, very basic questions, right? They're trying to ask questions. They don't care about if it's a content type. They don't care about where it's stored, whether it's in Planner to Yammer to Teams to SharePoint. They just want the system to provide that information for you. So this is kind of what we're trying to get to, is try to improve that struggle of finding information. And I think 2 years prior to the recent investments that Microsoft had, search was a fragmented experience. SharePoint had its own search, Yammer had its own search, OneDrive had its own search, Teams had its own search, and across the different products, that was the case. So a huge investment by Microsoft to kind of align all the different product suites together to come with Microsoft Search as an experience. So across from not just OneNote to Teams to Word, OneDrive, but even to your desktop applications. So Windows, Edge, even Bing, right? So if there are some ways where you can actually take advantage of Bing for your enterprise and infer more of that searching ability that employees want. So one capability within every search experience. So it's essentially bringing in that huge investment they've made into Bing technology, the search experience there, and all the infrastructure that they have behind the scenes, as well as the graph, and tying all that together. So with that, just want to highlight the huge power of Graph. If you're not aware, Microsoft Graph has quite a bit of power and capability, and essentially it's all about building and understanding relationships between the different data sets. So not just knowledge around your world, different tools, different devices, locations, etc. that you're in, knowledge around the people that you work with, so work knowledge, the different teams that you work with, who you connect with most frequently, etc. And of course, people knowledge, right? Learning a little bit more about how people are using their different products, their availability, calendar availability to just making sure those experiences surface out everywhere. So Microsoft Graph is enabling those experiences and doing a pretty impressive job, and they continue investing there as well. So across the board, the goals for Microsoft Search, the features that have been built on the Microsoft Graph are making sure contextual and relevant files are surfaced up across the board. So no matter where your files are stored, being able to search, if you're in OneDrive for Business and you search for content, it'll return not only OneDrive for Business content, but also SharePoint, Teams content, VMware content, etc. People search, really important, especially as organizations get larger and larger. So if you're in a company with more than 1,000 employees, people search has become a very important investment area for you. So being able to know who somebody reports to based on data and AD, being able to search based on different names, where somebody's located, etc. That's what people search is all about. There's also conversations, there's sites, Q&A is also being invested into Microsoft Search, so you can actually ask questions and get results without any additional clicks. So being able to infer or provide answers to common questions. And then of course, all the different discussions that you have in groups, your locations, where you're located, and just tying all that together into a simple experience that surfaces results that are contextual in real time. So with that, the other thing to be aware of is Microsoft Search within your tenant. The 6 key things that they're trying to do: make sure it's available everywhere, so no matter what device you're on, it's available. Make sure the content and the results are trustworthy. Absolutely don't want to return results that you don't have access to as a starting point. So respecting not just security, but DLP and Azure security as well in terms of results. Helping you increase productivity from day one. Having a unified administration portal, we'll go through that as well, and allowing you to kind of customize it. And of course, if you want to customize a little bit further, making sure you can leverage it across the ecosystem. So with that, what I want to go through is go through a few features and show you a couple of demos. And again, feel free to ask questions during this Connect as well. Microsoft Search and Bing, you can actually surface up work results in search. This is a common challenge that a lot of companies face. When employees can't find content, where do they go? Usually they go to Google, right? Or they go to some other tool. There are a few customers who do go to Bing. Obviously, it's based on individual preferences. So you go to a search engine that you prefer, and because of that, what's happening is a lot of the content, a lot of the searching that employees are doing, you're not able to get that data or understand how that's being used within your company. So a lot of employees, when they search on external website and they don't get work results, they don't know if the data is reflective of their environment or not. So being able to find work right within that experience is a big one. So take a quick pause here and see if I could show you an example of Bing search. So what I'll just do is I'll just go to bing.com. Right now, I am logged in with my work account. So my work account, I'm already logged in. So in this tenant now, I can actually ask. I'll just type in a question. Let's say I'll put in my name, hey Kanwal, and what it'll do is it'll not only surface up results from the web that are here, but it will also surface up results from my work. This gray bar over here are work results, and it actually surfaces up my profile, my email, my phone number. I can also flip over to organization and see information around who I report to. I can look at different files here, the different groups that I'm part of, and even look at my calendar. This same experience based on permissions is available for employees as well. So they can actually surface up information, let's say sales insights they want to learn. Again, those results, not just information that's coming from the web, but they can also surface up results. And here it'll show results from Contoso. And here it's one of the high items that I highlighted was the sales and marketing distribution list. So let's call that out. And there's also other results here. So there's groups that's associated to it, there's sites, there's files, etc. as well. So quite a bit of content. you'll see some people here as well that are part of that distribution list. So it's a great way for encouraging and enabling employees to be able to search for content and then surfacing up results when they want to actually surface up results from work as well. So want to share that with you guys quickly. Let me go back to presenting here. All right. So as part of Microsoft Search and Bing, we are going to go through some customization options that you have available. There's quite a bit available, but just want to give you a quick kind of preview of what's possible. Next up is what's new with Microsoft Search with Office. So you can absolutely now in Microsoft Search, that little search box at the top, that's the Microsoft Search box. You can actually search for acronyms. You can actually, one of the things that they're working on is semantic search. They've also improved employee search relevancy, so fuzzy matching is great. And then nicknames and natural language, spelling suggestions, as well as having this same experience, not just in the browser for Office 365, Microsoft 365, but also in Word and Excel and PowerPoint. So just give you some examples there here as well. We'll go back here to just a landing page in SharePoint. Just anywhere where you are, it doesn't matter if you're in SharePoint or any other page in Office 365. Let's say if I go ahead and search for, maybe I'll go over here. I'll go to the home page. Let me go over here. Sorry, let me go. We got to search from here. I'll type in Alan. I'll hit enter and I'll search the entire org. So if I search for Alan, obviously Alan comes up. If I search for ALLEN, it also surfaces up Alan as well. So it's doing fuzzy word matching as well. So quite a bit of capabilities there that are available for you guys to check out. But it also makes searching a lot easier for, you know, that scenario where you just don't know how to spell somebody's name and you just want to provide that. Another example of fuzzy matching is when you're typing the word Bill, but you really meant William, it'll still return William as a result as well. So next but not least is also semantic search. So as I was mentioning earlier, whether you're in Word, whether you're in Excel, that same experience will surface up content, but it also surface up results, contextual results based on the content of your document. So Microsoft Search will kind of recognize what you're working on, and if you're asking for results that might be relevant to the people that are working on that document, to the content of that document, it'll prioritize some of those results a little bit higher. As part of this search, it'll also surface up help as well. So sometimes contextual help will surface up as well. Next, this is an area that we're going to dive into a little bit later, but just want to call out there is Microsoft Search administration features as well. So unifying all the search experiences and administration across the different portals into a single product is one of the areas that Microsoft has been building in. And of course, you get analytics and health insights as well. So you're able to take the recommended actions that are there. They actually provide you recommendations on how to improve search as well, including security and privacy settings. And then you can also configure bookmarks, best bets, glossary, Q&A as well. Next up is you finally have the ability, this is started in January. If you're not aware, you have the ability to have a custom results page. You can create a custom results page to make search your own. So the great thing is it's actually using the existing SharePoint framework toolchain. So you can actually put in your custom web parts or customize existing ones and use the same tool set, the same PnP web parts, or some of your custom search result finders that you built and connect that there and surface up results completely differently as well. And you have the ability to also configure the web parts to your liking as well. So a lot of functionality, a lot of customizations that are available, a lot that's possible. So custom search results are now possible. They've been, I think, generally available since January. You might have to look at your tenant to make sure that is the case, but I believe it's generally available. In terms of Microsoft Search and SharePoint and OneDrive for Business, spelling suggestions are out. So I actually will recommend something like "Did you know?" or "Did you mean to speak this?" It'll actually call that out. If you misspelled something, it'll give you a suggestion for that. You can have different custom search result pages if you'd like per your site. For each site, you can go to the site settings page, go to search settings, and set up a separate search results page if you wanted to, based on business needs. And of course, you've got semantic search, and there are some Microsoft Graph connectors that are coming out as well. So quite a bit of ability to customize now, which is a huge improvement. If you're not aware, you can now actually connect your organization's devices where you have Windows 10 installed, and when people search for content in their Windows 10, it can actually surface up results from Microsoft 365. So getting the answers right from your search bar, both local content, content that's on their laptop or device, organizational content, which is on Microsoft 365, and web content, which is from the web. You can surface that up, including profile information as well. So helps quite a bit in terms of finding people, files, applications, and locations in the same experience. So this has been a pretty big win for organizations. Power BI search. This is something that we've been using quite a bit at TutorLead. Once you've connected the data to Power BI and are surfacing up reports, you can also now connect that Power BI reports and that data set directly into Microsoft Search with Bing, so you can actually search against that data as well. So you'll be able to unlock all that insights that you have in that data, and even pull up reports as well. So pretty powerful for the companies and organizations that are using it that we've been helping with. Admins have the ability to kind of configure Power BI answers, and then also configure what charts show up, so that you get that functionality and ability. So that was kind of a big kind of round robin of all the features that are available. Just a reminder for those that are on, if you want to ask questions around features, roadmap questions, what you should be leveraging as part of your company, please feel free to post on the Q&A section. All right, so I think we're making some good progress here. I'll move on to kind of the next section. The next section is really about configuring or customizing content. So it's really important to look at what's available, what's possible for out of the box, what you can actually configure, and what you can actually develop. So I want to show some of that to you guys. Actually, maybe what I'll do is I will pause before we go into customizations and maybe just give you another demo of some environmental SharePoint and OneDrive and Microsoft Search features overall. So yeah, I think here if you start typing in somebody's name, you can actually hit enter and get search results immediately for that individual, which is great. Let me go over here for a second. And just give me a second here. I think what I'll go is I'll go to office.com. And so one of the things that's great also is suggestions that I want to showcase. So some of the features are coming out across the board. Office.com is one of those landing areas that as long as you're logged into your corporate account, you can actually start getting some suggestions. So depending on the application, you get different insights and different predictive recommendations, which is really helpful. So in this case, it's recommending an app for me. It's saying, hey, Outlook actually is a great app for you to leverage. We encourage you to check that out. And it's actually showcasing documents that I've recently created, or documents that I've recently edited or viewed, showing people that I'm connected to and sites that I'm connected to as well. So if I type in Lynn's name, it actually show Lynn right here. I think one of the examples I was showing earlier is if I typed in Alan, Alan would still show up even though the name's misspelled. So you got Wilbur there, etc. So it's great to kind of see that, and then you can click on somebody's name and actually see this profile card open as well. The profile card, if you haven't seen the latest improvements, has improved quite a bit. And this profile card is available in other experiences as well. But you'll see the same tabs that you're kind of familiar with content information displayed, so you can switch between some of those different ones, see who Alex in this case is reporting to, see the files that Alex has worked with. If there's any emails between you and Alex, it's a quick way to kind of see that. And then you also notice LinkedIn. This is one of my favorite features. I think one of the things I'll highlight for everyone is would love to connect with you guys on LinkedIn. So if you click here on LinkedIn, it actually searches for Alex on LinkedIn and tries to associate it. So here it didn't find a matching profile, so it's saying, why don't you select the matching profile for me, which is great. I think what I'll do is I'll show you my profile. So I type in Kanwal, surfaces up Kanwal's profile. This is one of the tenants, so it has my name there. It doesn't have my name there. I'll type in LinkedIn, and right there I'll show my LinkedIn profile, automatically updated based on the latest information as well. So pretty cool. It's a great way. A lot of times, especially people that you're meeting with, not just internally but externally as well, partners and customers where you don't know their skill set, you're able to kind of see their LinkedIn profile ahead of time and see their experience and how they came to what they're doing right now. So it's helped me quite a bit in terms of my communication discussion with customers. I've shared my LinkedIn profile if any of you want to connect. That'd be awesome. Let me go back over here. So even in Outlook, the same experience. I'll move over here. Same experience that you have here. You have search, but now search is a little bit more related to your Outlook, but the placement and the experience are very, very similar. So again, there's a people card. You can search for sales information and surface that information up and return those results, search all your emails, but also open up like a people card as well. So pretty powerful, pretty consistent across the board, that experience that they're doing. I've loved, I'm a big believer in making sure experiences are simple, and I love what Microsoft's done here by standardizing that global search box and leveraging the graph and all that investment that they had in Bing to build this. So with that, we'll kind of go back to just some examples of customizations you can do. That was just a quick overview of some of the features for you guys. If there's any other features you're looking for or want me to demo, please do post here. Next up is configurations. I want to make sure you guys got a quick slide form of some of the experiences that you can configure today. So kind of think of these as, crawl, walk, and run scenarios. So if you haven't invested at all today into search, then make sure you're using out-of-the-box things. Make sure you crawl before you walk and run. Now, if you want to walk and you want to start leveraging that, look at what you're able to do with the administration with setting up bookmarks, locations, search box behavior. That kind of goes a long way. And then make sure external content. So you can actually start connecting external content as well as customize custom verticals and layouts as well. So, and as you get closer and closer to being able to run, you're actually able to create specific business examples, business solutions, custom pages, and build standalone solutions. So try to keep it simple, but at the same time, try to make sure you're investing and continually moving. Any organization that iteratively invests into search and improving search is making lives easier for employees. From a configuration customization point of view, this was at the end of 2019. You can do quite a bit today. The only addition now that I would have for this year is the ability to custom connectors, which I'll show you information on, as well as the custom search result pages. So a little bit of insight here. If you want a search results page and want to customize it, you can add the search verticals to show content indexed via connectors. So what you'll see here is that this vertical, one of the connectors is Contoso Research, and actually displays this result set is from research data as well. You can actually create design layouts as per your need for the different verticals. So If you want to connect into Salesforce, connect into Workday, ServiceNow, you're going to have that ability to do it. If you're looking to kind of improve your search, I know a lot of organizations, that universal search box, when you search, it only returns results for the current site that you're on, if you're in SharePoint, and you can actually increase that scope for search as well. So you can make it site-specific, you can make it hub-specific, or you can make it the entire organization. And that search box behavior you can also update. If there are questions around, does it only surface up content from modern pages or classic pages, you can actually define that. So all pages, which means classic experiences also get the search experience, modern pages only, or no search box, and bring your own search box. So you can actually disable that experience if you wanted to as well. That's one configuration option. And then of course you have the ability to do custom results pages as well. Tailor them to your business needs, make different ones, and be able to really configure it. So you have that ability. The editing experience of a custom search page is the same as a modern page, where you can just hit edit and right on the rails add web parts and components. On a custom search results page, you get the additional search web parts as well. All right. Next up is kind of search results extensibility. You can actually extend the search results experience to include locations and how it handles locations. Look at synonyms and how it handles synonyms, translations as well. You can override some of the things that Microsoft is doing, or even bring your own business rules to identify if there's certain results sets that are coming through and how to manipulate or modify that for your business. If you're looking to modify search queries, have a look at the SharePoint framework. It's version 1.10 that came out, I believe, in January. There is a new search API as well in the Microsoft Graph. So if you're have developers in-house or working with developers, there's a new endpoint that you can leverage for querying the graph and getting results returned. It is scoped by the entity, and the results are graph entities as well. An important thing is it does support KQL filtering. So today, Microsoft Search, Microsoft Graph today doesn't support Microsoft Stream and other SharePoint entity types, but it will, and that is coming soon. That's a big investment that Microsoft's doing, and little by little you'll be able to have and identify which entities are part of the graph. So here are some examples of the entities that are supported today. From a mail perspective, it's primarily messages. From a calendar perspective, it's primarily events. For SharePoint, purely files right now. So lists and libraries are not in place yet. OneDrive for Business is files, and then there's some connectors that I'll show you guys where external files and external items are supported. So those search scopes are going to be really important for you. Excuse me. Configuration customization. Hopefully by the in the next couple of weeks we'll have all this in place. Custom verticals for SharePoint content, custom refiners, custom query suggestions in the search box. That's the one that I'm most excited about. And then custom result types and layouts for SharePoint content. So being able to configure and customize a lot more than what's available today is pretty cool. Enables and allows you to build solutions that are kind of tailor fit. All right, so we'll move on to kind of the administration section here, and I just want to share some activities. We talked about this a little bit earlier. The intent of the unified administration is so you have a central console for both analytics as well as being able to configure the search. And then you also have the ability to make sure recommendations are also surfaced up. So it's one of the great things when you have all this data and you start see data across different organizations, you can actually start recommending other organizations to take immediate actions to improve their search experience. So unified administration is a big winner in terms of simplifying that across the board. Next up is the ability to kind of customize it. So be able to customize for your business. Managing how and when knowledge reaches your employees is important. So there are sometimes content that you don't want surfaced up in search results, or there is content where you want to promote it a little bit higher in results. So having that ability to do that and even customize that is pretty big. From a configuration point of view, maybe I'll highlight, take a step back here for a quick sec. There's a couple of questions. So one of the questions that came through was, is there a list which information is found in which search box? For example, files not in Outlook, Teams search box not really usable, etc. There isn't a list today, but can definitely put, I think that would be a worthwhile addition. It's something that always find I'm answering for customers. So great question. We'll be following up on that. Just going to publish that for now. The other question was, is there a way to edit the search dropdown on top of the page? So the auto suggest, like, and adding custom sources, or the ability to select what sources you want. That is functionality that's coming up. That's what I was saying earlier. Custom query suggestions in the search box. I believe that's what you're asking as well. That is something that I'm pretty excited about, to be able to really control that experience and make it unique. So wait until next week. We'll have to look at the roadmap and see where that is. I don't believe it's been, it's generally available. Great questions, team. Next up is administration, customization we talked about, and then of course connectors. And this is pretty big, so I'll share with you kind of the connectors that are available, but SharePoint content or content in Microsoft 365 is not the only content an organization has. So being able to see more of those connectors and be able to connect to other data is pretty big. So I'll demo the administration as well. So I'll demo this and I'll skip the slide. And I think for now I'll pause and I'll go to the search administration section here for you guys. There's a great question as well that's come up, is there are these other connectors. How can we actually add these other connectors? For example, Salesforce and whatnot. So I'm in my administration, the search administration here. If you're a tenant administrator and you have the ability, it's basically one of the admin centers. If you don't have it in your listings, just go to all admin centers, and then if you have access, it'll be Microsoft Search. So this is where I am right now. All right, so on the right here, let me maybe go full screen. And what you'll see is there'll be insights here. This is a demo tenant, so you're not going to see top searches, but there's that ability to see the top searches people are searching for, especially that Bing.com integration. It's a great way to see what employees are searching for outside of the enterprise, and maybe supporting some of that discovery back into the enterprise content. So being able to see that would be really helpful, but you can filter those top searches in here and say, just show me the files that were the top files, etc. And it also show you displays around distribution by result type. So be able to see that across the bookmarks, people, across this timeline is another. It's just initial dashboard. There's gonna be more improvements to it. From an answers point of view, you can specify acronyms. So acronyms are basically abbreviations. Yeah, you know, for example, at ToLead we have project codes. So an acronym for us would be the project code that identifies the project or engagement. For you, it might be industry-specific abbreviations or products or discussions that happen often. So you can actually define the acronym, the expansion. So I'll click on Add and show you this. So in here, you can actually specify the acronym. Let's do SPFX as an example. The expansion for this is SharePoint Framework. You can give information about what that is. And you know, it's really up to you on what you want to share. But what I'll do on my end is I'll maybe go over here. I'll just copy something from the web. Just copied and pasted some content here, and that source was actually GitHub. So I'll include. Let me just grab the actual link, not the Google results. There's a link, and that would be the source. So it would actually show who published it, which is the company, and then the source where that content came from. So people know the authority and the reason behind that customization. So you can do the same here from acronyms to bookmarks. We've got a couple of bookmarks here that'll show as well what that means. So for example, Windows Help, there's some product related suggestions that Microsoft put in. Here's one that I've included, submit time off at 2 leads. So no matter where I am, I should be able to search for that content and get that result surfaced up. So if we look at this on the administration side, let me just maybe do this and do this. There you go. On the administration side, I included a URL. I included some information. I included a keyword, and I'll edit this. And one of the things you can do with bookmarks is actually you can target the bookmarks as well based on dates. So I can actually start when this bookmark gets displayed and when it doesn't display. So if there's a vacation policy that expires at a certain time, there's an announcement you're looking to make that expires at a certain time, you can do that. That granularity. If you want to specify certain countries that it goes for, so based on user profile locations, actually specify, this is only for folks in Norway. You can do that and do multi-select. Groups, of course, you can do Office 365 groups there. You can even do it based on devices. So the bookmarks and experiences based on the different devices profiles, which is great. You can actually do targeted variations based on the user's device and location. So if you want to do a variation between both the device and a location, you can do that. And then last but not least, you can also add a Power App to it. So I just put in a GUID here for the Power App. So if you have a Power App you built, let's say there's a vacation request Power App that To Lead had, we would put in the ID. The reason this doesn't work is because it's on our tenant, it's not on this demo tenant. But you can specify the height and width. So as you publish this, I'm just gonna revert back my settings. It'll show up this result, and then I can actually launch the Power App right here. It didn't find the Power App, but if there was a Power App, it would launch it right here and allow the person to submit the time off within the company and go through an approval process as well. So pretty powerful. With just like acronyms, bookmarks, and others, you can import, export these settings between different tenants or updating within your tenant. Another setting is floor plans. If you do have Visio-based floor plans, you can do that as well. Great question. There was a question from Peter. Thanks, Peter, for asking. Can you import acronyms? 100%. And then can you integrate them to other sources? So today you cannot. Now, once the API for the import-export is available, I'm sure, Peter, then you can start creating a flow or Power Automate or a process for importing and exporting based on other data sources. Great question. Moving on to locations, you can also add locations here as well, the different buildings, locations that company employees are at. And then, of course, question and answer. You can actually add common questions that people ask and provide an answer for that as well. The other administration things that are possible is connectors. So you can actually, there are connectors, so they can actually leverage. And the available connectors, here's the connector library if you guys are interested. So from Adobe Experience to Alfresco to Amazon to Box integration. If your content is somewhere other than Office 365, Microsoft 365, you can even, one of the most popular ones is file shares. You've got a file share today where either the content hasn't moved or you're planning on keeping the content there. You can connect to that file share and have the results of that content surface up in a single experience. So quite a bit of functionality and quite a bit of connectors that you can connect to and actually surface up some of that content. Salesforce is here, RSS feeds, ServiceNow, Slack. Wanted to confirm, yeah, it looks like Workday has not made its way through yet, but you can build custom connectors. So you do have that ability. All right, and then of course there's customizations you can do, different result types, and some of the result types that you want. You can specify the name for it, the content source, set up the rules, the layout. There's a bit of a configuration wizard here. And then there's also verticals you can specify as well. And the verticals, you can specify the content source, a query, and get that aligned. So quite a bit of functionality. I love the fact that they brought it in together to make it super simple. One question that I always get asked as well is, can we turn off or can we change Microsoft Search and Bing? You can definitely disable that if you wanted to, if you find there is concern there. From a privacy perspective, happy to connect with you guys afterwards, but the architecture of Microsoft Search content and surfacing up on Bing interface, security and privacy are respected. So have confidence from that perspective, but before you gain that confidence yourself and data behind it, you're welcome to turn that off. Great question, Peter Yad. Does a connector work with on-prem services? 100%. File shares being one of the on-prem, and then obviously if there's other services that you have and there's APIs that it can integrate with, there's a SQL database that you want to connect to and surface that up, you absolutely can connect to that data. Of course, that data needs to be ingested, indexed, and then be able to return results. There's some of that work associated to that besides just building that connector. All right, go back to the slides. We got a couple minutes remaining. Just wanted to highlight a couple things. I'm always happy to jump on a call to look at some of your experiences or where you want to invest from a search perspective. So if you ever want some of that insight, want to connect, please do reach out through LinkedIn or Twitter or email as well. In terms of what's new for developers, you absolutely can go to github.com and look at some of those samples. I encourage you to do that. If you need some support and to be able to build a connector, build some custom solution in under 2 weeks, we can help you with that as well. All right, go here. Here are kind of the graph connectors that I was talking to you about earlier that you can support, from IBM to Jive to your on-prem database to Alfresco, etc. There's lots of connectors already, and you can build those as well. There's been quite a bit of functionality that's been delivered that, again, I have to commend Microsoft, for building such an amazing, simple experience. The search team has done a fantastic job on behind the scenes. This experience is coming together, improving search experience for users, as well as making it easy for customers to connect their data as well. So lots coming, and a lot of the things that you see on the right, for example, custom connectors has been launched. New search locations, for example, Teams is coming. Improved search experience. Quite a few of these functionality has been launched already. But the calendar year for 2020, this is what the plans are. If you're looking for more resources, make sure you check out Microsoft Search blog, Microsoft Search on GitHub, as I shared earlier, and the Search Resource Center. Thank you so much for attending this session. Thank you so much for the questions. Yeah, I'll open it up if there's any more questions. I'm here for a couple more minutes, but if not, please do reach out on LinkedIn.